Kia ora ngā hoa mā. So in today's video we're going to be looking at some musical instruments, really simple musical instruments that can get anyone who's non-musical at all engaged in music. So stick around and I'll see you in the video. So like I said in the opening sequence, we're going to be looking at some really simple musical instruments. I personally believe that everyone should be exposed to music in some shape or form. Some people, their instrument is their throat and they sing beautifully. Others, they have a natural sense of percussion and they can pop out a beat or even beatbox and things like that. That's to be encouraged because music has this wonderful effect on people's brains and makes them more creative. I didn't take up music until quite late in my life, using instruments and things like that. And I found as soon as I started playing instruments that something changed in my brain and I became way more creative, especially in the last 5 years as I've started to pick up more and more instruments. Now, I'm not saying by any means I'm a master of instruments, but I have picked up the basics of a lot of different ones. So I'm just going to share some of those with you because instruments, you don't have to go and buy a guitar or expensive piano lessons and things. There are a lot of instruments out there that give the same amount of gratification but don't require a lot of money to go out and spend them. So my first instrument that I learned to play was harmonica, and I love the harmonica. It's probably my favorite instrument of all time, and it's really what got me passionate about and made me think, oh man, I can actually be a musician. And not in, I can't go out and go play in a band or anything, but like it exposed me to music and made me think, man, I can actually do this and try different things. So these are relatively cheap and inexpensive. You can get them in all different price ranges. This is obviously quite an expensive one because I got really into it, but you can get baseline models. This is my son's one and he's only 2, and this one's like a $10 harmonica. Gets a nice sound out of it. And this is my expensive one. Okay, so it's quite a nice one. Okay, so you get a nice sound out of that one. Another cheap instrument that I picked up, this actually only cost me $2 in the US. I haven't seen them anywhere here, but you probably can get them over online. And this is what's called a nose flute. And the principle of the nose flute, you can see the opening there. You blow out of your nose and you have your mouth open, and it's like a straw, and it directs the sound into your mouth, and by changing the shape of your mouth and your throat positioning, it'll changes the note, and so you can play all kinds of tunes. So obviously this isn't a traditional instrument, but man, it's fun, and it's really easy to play once you learn what to do. So that's called a nose flute, and that's quite a fun one. It's even got like a little thing so you can have it on a necklace if you become a nose fluting professional. I'll come to my most fun one at last. One that's good for a teacher, and they're going through a bit of a renaissance at the moment, is the old ukulele. So this is my uke that I keep at school, and I play it simply for enjoyment, not so much to teach or anything with, but just to play. Well, that was terrible notes. There we go. So I recommend getting these if you're a teacher, just to expose yourself to something musical. If you don't want to do a wind instrument like harmonica or something and you want to learn strings, uke is an easy entry point. And from uke, I moved into guitar. And I'm a super novice when it comes to guitar. But one of the things that I do in my class is that I provide a classroom guitar. So the kids that do play guitar and want to play guitar on a rainy day, or want to, even if they can't afford a guitar themselves, because we provide guitars as part of our music room, but if they can't afford a guitar and they want to play around, this is the class's guitar, and we call them Big Hank. And Big Hank is quite a popular item to play around with. And so the kids quite often borrow him on rainy days, even sunny days, and they just don't want to be running around. They'll just sit out on the porch in front of my classroom and play Big Hank. So it's good to provide. We shouldn't just be providing games and equipment. We should, if we can provide something musical like that they can be creative, then I'm for that as well. So the one that I'm saving for last, because you can see in the top corner there is my pūrere hua. So that's a New Zealand Māori instrument, and I'll put a video for that. That's a really easy instrument to make. But this is my jaw harp, okay, and this is one of my favourite ones, and this really gets the kids going and it grabs the kids' attention straight away. You can pick these up from most music shops for about $15. You can get them ordered in. Normally they don't keep them in stock. Only a couple of times have I ever seen them in stock. This is traditionally an Eastern European instrument. I think I called it a jaw harp. It's also traditionally known as a Jew's harp, okay, or a mouth harp. Okay, so you open a gap between your teeth, and this one is similar in principle to the nose flute, that it uses your throat and the positioning of your mouth and tongue to get the different sounds. Oh. Okay, and it works on the tongue, or the flicky part, resonating between your teeth, and your mouth works like the hole in a guitar, and so you can go wow, 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 and it changes the sound of the instrument. Now, I know this sounds all kind of weird and kooky, but these things are fun too. I mean, like, you can add in silent sound effects into stories, like, okay, so you get a nice bouncing sound. With the harmonica, I've done so you get, like, adding in sound effects using your instruments, and it's good to just have a few lying around. Now, I've played with other instruments before, like melodicas. Melodicas are really good for kids who know keyboard and you want to try and move them into a wind instrument. But yeah, there's a world out there. So I recommend getting kids into instruments if you can, and exposing them to instruments if you can, and providing them with the tools if you can. Big Hank, I found him on the side of the road and bought him a new set of strings. So, make the most of these opportunities as they arise. But for now, ka kite, and I'll see you next time on Mr. Ashley's Place.